Hey, THLers, welcome to Thursday Throwdown. Bet you never see this in a hot minute. Joining me tonight, if you get to see the screen, because it just blanked out white on you, it is Dr. Fish joining me to cast. So how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Saku. I'm super excited for this match. This is Legacy Finals, and this is a win or go home situation for one of our participants, while the other players win and they get a Legacy Championship. Um, so obviously on the screen we see our competitors, Gamer Dude and Ron Mexico.
Yep.
For Gamer Dude, it's win or go home. Currently it's 8-1 in favor of the Diamond Five after Neji got a swift sweep on stream on Tuesday, and last week Rice Christian was able to take a 3-1 over Tab. So we come into this one with some pressure on the line. I mean, finals, playoffs does tend to bring some pressure, but I know that both of these players are up for it.
Yeah. There was just like the wonderful match that we didn't see. I heard was pretty close between Tab and
Yeah.
in the group, but
Mm-hmm.
last Tuesday was a unexpected sweep, but that happens in Hearthstone, as everybody has
Yeah.
experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Which puts us to, like you said, just this match could win it, or we get
Yeah,
pushed to Sunday. So
for
we do have
sure.
bands in. If you want to go over the bands and what the players are going to be ripping going
Yeah,
forward.
let's go through that. So, I believe first going to be Ron Mexico, who has brought Druid, Mage, Priest, and Rogue. And Gamer Dude on his side has brought Mage, Paladin, Priest, and Rogue. So we see uh, Mage, Priest, and Rogue in common, but the difference is Druid and Paladin. And so on Gamer Dude's side, he's opted for a Druid ban. I looked at these classes. I said, yeah, this looks like a pretty good Druid ban, as Ramp Druid would be very difficult would get through pretty easily. For Ron Mexico, and on Ron Mexico's side, he has banned Priest, a class he doesn't necessarily class that he's been on record as not enjoying to play against
Mm-hmm.
or play as. But I think that the Priest ban is pretty good here for him, for sure. And so we're left with a Mage, Paladin, and Rogue versus Mage, Priest, Rogue. I'm sure the players are ready, awaiting to
They
get this
are.
underway.
They are.
So
There's some hype meters going on in Gamer Dudes in Ron's chat that I'm currently
nice.
talking with right now. Ron is not going to be on cam, but we do have Gamer Dude who will be on
Awesome,
cam.
awesome.
So I'm gonna
Man,
get.
we can't see Brushy Tuna, Ron's biggest fan.
I know. So
It's
maybe he'll
unfortunate, but
maybe he'll just magically show up in chat there and start donating
true.
some more packages. So because it is close to Christmas, so
Sounds good.
I'm gonna let the players know that they can start, and then we could
Awesome.
start the
Yeah,
excitement and anticipation of what's gonna happen. So
for
what do you
sure.
think they're queuing up first while I'm chit chatting here?
Um, I mean, I don't know how either of these players really plan out their leading classes or anything like that. I'll just say it'd be fun to see a Rogue mirror to start.
Mm-hmm.
I think Rogue is a funny class right now. There's a couple different builds. There's XL Thief Priest, which seems to be XL Thief Rogue, which seems to be super popular. There's also Miracle Rogue, which is doing a bunch of shenanigans with coins and
Right.
lower cost minions with the inclusion of Ice. I'm sorry, not Ice Crown Citadel. Knights of the Frozen Throne expansion. Oop, our guy Gamer Dude needs to turn their spectator on.
Oh,
Uh, so I can start on Ron's side since I am not the one whose screen is being shown on stream.
all
So we'll
right.
start off with what they have.
Well, that's gonna be good anyway, because Ron Mexico is gonna be at the bottom of the screen
Oh,
while
he is.
Gamer
Okay.
Dude is gonna be at the top. So
Oh my, I did not. I got the order wrong on the screen.
that's okay. It's all good.
Yeah. All right.
The two players are playing, so that's the important thing.
Yeah, we have a priest, which is a rogue from Ron Mexico, and then we have a paladin for Gamer Dude, which is not a rogue, it is a paladin. So I got one of the two correct, and Ron. So we're gonna see the XL Thief rogue out of Ron Mexico going into this paladin. It's this matchup can get pretty crazy. It's a slight favor for rogue, but I mean a lot of these are just like 52%, which pretty much plays this even.
Yeah.
With like a few advantages if things go differently. Oh, that is an interesting tech from the paladin. We see a steam cleaner, which can really put some work in against generation in the hand. I'm not sure if that's something that's going to be playing really big into the rogue, because they tend to like to play their random cards and then get them out as soon as possible because of contraband stash. But we'll see if it gets some good play in this.
Ron with a double cross in hand.
Yeah. So Ron can play this sketchy stranger, which will reveal that it's a rogue, but will not reveal the rogue class itself.
Right.
Because it's obviously
it's on the website.
It's not a quest priest, but it's a neutral minion.
That's right.
So It won't reveal the class, but this will give the information very likely that this is a rogue.
That's right.
Because it's not it could be a weird priest build that just doesn't play the quest, but I would doubt that if I was Gamer Dude. So we're gonna play Battle Vicar here. A pretty nice opening hand, honestly, for Gamer Dude, and Ron's got a bit of a weird, kind of almost slow hand. He did take the perjury there, and but he's really gonna look for jackpot in this case, or reconnaissance to.
So do you go with Reckoning here or Flash of Light? Because Conviction's really not that great.
Picks.
But
yeah, I think I would personally take the secret because it could fill up the curve, but it's not bad to take the heal and draw. It's also a very good option. And Ron picks up Prince Renethal, which honestly wouldn't be too bad if just a straight up slam from Ron, because it fills curve. He could also be thinking I'd like to play double cross, see if I can get 2 draws. But he can also say, do I want to reveal my class now while I'm still drawing and discounting my nulls at this point?
Right.
His nulls will be discounted by 3, so they'll cost 2 currently. So maybe if he can go a couple more turns, or draw a generation card, then he'll be able to get those 0 cost rogues, or even sitting at a 1 cost rogue is honestly okay for this deck. Let's see what are you looking at
Grace,
here?
Blessed Goods, and Service Bell. So Garden Grace.
So they picked the Garden Grace. I might have picked the Servant's Bell because getting 2 of a copy of a card that you really want from your deck is pretty solid. But the Garden's Grace also good. You're going to be playing pretty heavy costing spells and stuff like that eventually. Although this deck isn't maybe so much. This Control Paladin is more known for having bigger minions than bigger spells. So maybe there's something interesting in play with this deck. So Ron did reveal, so it'll be 1 cost nulls currently, but will very easily at some point in the game become 0 cost nulls with like a reconnaissance and
all that crazy nonsense.
Yep, Ron's taking his trade. Sire Denathrius is in hand now, so that's a card that's kind of newer to the Thief Rogue deck, but it provides a lot of late game. But it can just provide that late game the deck needs to be able to close out.
That and some heal, obviously. The automatic.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. But Ron's in a really weird position. He doesn't really have a great way to play something like Private Eye. We do know that he's going to get Perjury activated on this turn. Okay, we got Ring of Courage, Blessed Goods, and Reckoning, and this is going to be on a Noggling. So I think I would pick Blessed Goods probably.
Oh, pick Courage.
Ring of Courage. Yeah. Ring of Courage isn't bad. It is a buff spell. He just wants to buff his minion to be a 2/4, or sorry, a 4/6. My apologies.
Wow.
As Ring of Courage, the Ring of Courage is a +1/+1 for every enemy minion. So that was a good pick there for the Ring of Courage.
Right.
So
Motion
Ron,
denied or objection?
I think you pick. I honestly think you pick objection here,
Oh,
because the noggling was played.
right.
And so now you have to suspect that. I guess we haven't seen order in the court, but once we see order in the court, then you could suspect that like eventually you're gonna start seeing bigger minions get played.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, with no generation really there, I think Gamer Dude can just test this with the Righteous Defender and Righteous Protector and won't really have to sweat it too much. While Ron is just gonna have to cast this with just for the single battle cry because he needs a body on the board and opts to not take face damage there.
Dude.
But this Paladin has the board pressure mounting up. No good real good draws for Ron.
Yeah.
Like Ron's really been low rolling these draws compared to what the deck can do. And that happens in Hearthstone. I'm sure he'll he's a really great player. So the secret that was set was double cross, so he can't even play the secret from his hand yet until his opponent spends all his mana, and lets Ron draw cards. Which if he trades the city tax back, which he doesn't, he plays around the double cross. Oh, there's the Ghastly Gravedigger. That's a nice pickup. He'll be able to send the card back to Gamer Dude's hand if he so chooses, and there's really not a whole lot other to do than to just slam this Ghastly Gravedigger. So you probably pick the Jailer and put it back, but it's interesting because Order in the Court was just played. I don't know how this works. I don't know if this reorders the deck.
Nah,
so this just reshuffles the deck, I believe. So now Order in the Court no longer should be in effect.
That's good.
No, it just gets that card gets shuffled in and Cariol gets drawn regardless, I guess. I am unaware of how this specifically works.
But, I think it's similar to the other deck. Yeah. So as soon as it doesn't get disrupted, is my understanding. But chat can help chime in. So
yeah, it used. I know at some point it used to. There was some effects like Lore Keeper Polkelt would get destroyed by like a bomb shuffle because it would.
That's right.
It would put the deck all back out of order.
You're out of order.
Oh yeah. Let's see. We trade city taxes. Do we spend the extra 2 mana, which would give Ron draws, or do we not? Do we just play the Righteous Protector, realize that it's going to get hit by, or see that it gets hit by an objection, and then just end the turn? He's really playing around this double cross, which is fine because he doesn't have a instant slam play, but in a couple of turns he's not going to really be able to avoid that.
Ron is struggling right now.
Ron is drawing very poorly right now, but he's still in it.
Yes,
because he put the Jailer back in the deck. Cariol will come down, but I mean this Rogue deck can still do plenty of work against with the generations that'll come later, and they might be more effective later because you'll play Jackpot and then you'll be able to play almost anything you draw. Yeah. And that'll get hopefully he'll have some Shadow Steps and stuff to play with Tests and Contraband stashes, and just kind of keep the chain going. But for now we're gonna see Gamer Dude playing a bit off curve every turn just to make sure that he's not giving Ron the extra draws, which is a really good game plan. And there's the Jackpot.
Ooh.
I think you just got to go and slam this Jackpot because you do have mana for Swift Scale Trickster. The prep was fine. That's a Drakefire Amulet, which you definitely probably just want to Trickster out here. Could opt to clear the board, but I feel like playing 2 mana 2/2 give me 2 dragons is really good. And he does have tests for the next turn, which maybe you don't want to see so much.
There we go.
It's actually kind of a tough call between Bone Drake and Deathwing in my opinion, because Bone Drake does give you an extra dragon. But it is a 12/12 on board, which would be huge.
Okay, Bone Drake and then Sleepy if you feel, but Brood.
Probably take the Brood Mother here. Yeah. All right. And we're gonna see the Divine Toll as well. Ron's just gonna play both of his cards here, which is really great. And whether he thinks about it or not, he's actually playing around a potential Steam Cleaner in this situation. Let's see how this goes. It's gonna buff minions, not do much to the opponent, but is going to create a big Swift Scale Trickster and a big Brood Mother, which realistically, it's gonna get removed. And Ron's not gonna be super happy about that, but he is gonna get some. He's gonna get some more. He's gonna get some more. Um, buff up on his Denathers. I really like this play. It was a really good turn from Ron, which ended up preventing Carriel's slam.
Yeah.
On 8. I don't know. I don't think Ron's ever gonna be able to play. Gonna have his double cross actually picked up. He has to play Test Greymane here, which could kind of be unfortunate if it was able to get removed. But we'll see how this goes. How many of these buffs go on? How many of these are buffs versus hits? And there's two minion hits and something else. 2 dragons, Kazakhstan, and an Ixian Warder. So from here, I mean, this test is gonna stick. Hopefully, for Ron's sake, he can draw a Shadow Step, something. I mean, from here, you could see in the court to put the Jailer in hand and have that possibility for pressure in a little bit.
Do you see Denny come down next turn just for tempo?
I don't think we're going to see Sire Denathrius this early. I think we're very likely to see Carriel though to prevent as much damage coming in. The Steam Cleaner does only just kills an Onyxian Warder that's sitting in hand, and so not really worth playing that versus I think at least getting something on the board.
Mm-hmm.
You could go for now. There was a line where you could have played Theotar and just kind of hope to hit something with so little cards in deck. But we're gonna play around. But we're going to just play the Carriel. Ron picks up Krakatoa. That's a great card for later in the game.
That double cross still not triggering.
Double cross is not going to get triggered. It's been a very meticulous play around by Gamer Dude, which hasn't really backfired at all. This Onyxian Warder is just a 5-mana 3/6. You could just play it. But we're going to see the most pressure put on board with the Krakatoa. We're going to see and then we'll see a Redagger from Ron here. This is where it can get a bit hairy for the Paladin, where there's not enough, where there really isn't a whole lot going on in the hand. That is a great draw. That's a really good draw, but it doesn't answer the board that well. You can only realistically answer one thing or 2 things if you take away, like the Onyxian Warder and a Claw, or both Claws, or you can only answer 1 minion. Actually, no, you just swing. You can swing with your face and clear something. But Ron just has a lot of pressure sitting there. Which I would think maybe you hero power and just kind of hope it hits the Leviathan.
Yeah.
I mean, Theotar here, like you could consider a Theo play here and just be like, I wonder what's in the hand. But I think we're instead going to see a lower curve play, Battle Vicar. I don't think that the secret triggers before Theo goes off. It could, but I would doubt it does. And so we're gonna see we're just gonna see a consecration here to remove the 2 claws, which doesn't do a whole lot necessarily, but with the 1/1 on board.
Contraband.
Oh, Contraband Stash is a huge pickup for Ron. It allows him to
throw some wrenches.
I mean, it gives him another Divine Toll. It gives him another. I mean, it's only 2 things. It's Divine Toll and it's Drakefire, but those are 2 massive spells, and that could clear off the minions. Or in this case, it buffs up a ton of things. And now we see more big dragons coming into hand. Ron more than happy to tank the 1 damage, and it's all going to the dome. And I mean, this Paladin is getting super low on health. And there's 49 damage on board.
Oh, what do we got?
And that's Ragnaros Light Lore. That's not going to be enough. The Sire Denathrius only at 11, so you'd only be healing to 29 and likely not even removing a minion. So I think this paladin is kind of run out of answers, unfortunately for them. The Leviathan can clear off the 12-8 Tess,
Yeah.
or can clear off the 8-5 and the 8-4, because of the minion. I don't think you really want to face tank anything, but
Yeah,
um
you can't afford it right now with so much
yeah,
damage
you
on the board.
can't.
So
Yeah, even I think even an equality draw here would. He wants to try and draw specifically, which
Burial.
I think that's a situation where it's absolutely okay to try and draw specifically, try and draw an out. But he now sees there's no outs. There realistically isn't an out, unfortunately for him. Garden's Grace is gonna get played though, so that's gonna remove Tess and do it, and then draw the 3-1. But there is just enough for him to live. But Sire, like, I don't know. Here you could even consider Sire Denathrius, and it should almost be lethal, if I'm being honest. Ron could reconnaissance here and see what he picks up, and see if he likes what he picks up. But
Yeah.
he doesn't. I don't. Yeah, he's just gonna go ahead and prep out the reconnaissance, and he's going to get
Saber's good.
a Jarn Saber is pretty good here.
Picks.
But
Rarity.
Egwin's also okay. I
Okay.
don't mind Egwin. I wonder how like it's interesting how Ron might think to play this. So we're gonna see a trade plus Denathrius. Yeah, I think we could see like trade and then Denathrius, and this might be lethal. I'm holding my breath. I'm not sure actually how much is there.
Is.
That is lethal. Ron Mexico
That is all the way lethal.
Very good lethal find from Ron. So that's gonna be a win for Rogue.
Yeah.
It looked bleak, and then the jackpot hit very well, and Ron was able to use that with a little bit of like a scattered amount of decent draw for the Rogue, and the draw did get pretty good after a while. The double cross never proc that game. It was very interesting. It was a very interesting idea to just play around it all game. And with the Cariel, it seemed obviously much better to clear the board completely. So we're running the Paladin back out, and now it meets the Priest. Oh, and Ron with the Quest Priest in this matchup, which is, if it's any other Priest deck, it is so favored for the Paladin, but Quest Priest beats the Paladin, and it beats it pretty handedly.
As long as they're on curve.
yeah, for sure. Obviously, if the deck plays on curve, and even then, it just has enough tools in the deck to kind of just beat the Paladin. And the Viper is teched in there for the Cariel weapon, which we see in hand. This is a really good opening hand. Just gonna hero power on 2, but the Venomous Scorpion on 3 into Viper, or into School Teacher. Very good curve for the Paladin for right now. Will want to fill that out, getting towards turn 8. Ron's gonna reveal the Viper, which is absolutely fine. Unfortunately for him, he's not gonna find a minion to play for the next turn. So no 2, 3, or 4 currently.
Well, he got a 3.
Oh, you're right. He'll probably just. Oh, okay. Identity Thief. You probably.
Nope.
He's gonna rip the Cathedral of Atonement. I guess that's good. That's good. Interestingly, this hand is pretty low. You could, like, I mean, if Ron wanted to get frisky, he could go like Coin Theo, but I don't think he's gonna do that. I think we're more likely to see something like Identity Theft, or even maybe coining out a Spirit Guide, just kind of based on the draw here. And it is a clean the scene draw, which doesn't do a whole lot. So, and see how Ron wants to navigate this. He could go for identity theft here. But I think we're gonna see a coin spirit guide with the location there, really nice. Will allow Ron to draw in a lot of your spells that you're gonna draw are low cost, which will help you get which will help Ron get his 2 and 4, hopefully, for him. And on Gamer Dude's side, he's just gotta keep playing on his curve. He's got a Noggling with a Flash of Light. He's got pretty good plays on 5 here that can start with a Venomous Scorpid, which is obviously something that Ron doesn't want to see.
Right.
But clean the scene would actually be pretty good here. It would be able to clean out 3 minions and allow Ron to go face.
It's a good pick up there for Gamer 2 with the Righteous Defense.
Yes, for sure. Righteous Defense is very good. It'll allow him to take away the stats from him from probably this 7/6 if he so chooses.
Yeah.
But yeah, this clean the scene is so nice on curve. And we're gonna see Ron trade, which not bad. I mean, Ron recognizing this matchup is not at all about
rushing to complete the quest. It's just more weather the storm and away you go.
It's rushing to complete the quest, but also you don't need to go face.
Right.
Neither of these decks will realistically win by doing that. And with the draw of the Leviathan, Order in the Court gets played. And so we're gonna have a 7 into an 8 for Gamer Dude. While Ron will have a good opportunity to draw. There's a 4. There's a 4. I might be tempted to.
Where's my 2s at? There we go.
There's the 2, but it's gonna come on a 1-drop, so he's not gonna activate it.
Yep.
He can. He can probably. I think I'd like to see Call of the Grave picked here from Ron. He picks the Spirit Lash because it will be able to deal with the board here pretty well. There's the Light It Burns, which won't do a whole lot right now. But we'll do something later for sure. The interesting thing is that this 9/1 is just not a Righteous Defense target anymore. So
unless it lands on Denny or the Jailer, but that would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting. You have so much attack and just no defense added.
Yeah.
With 7 mana, I would just like to see this Leviathan come down. It's very good. You get to see what you're drawing. Like, I guess he obviously now opts to not want to see. But there's the 2-cost card. So Ron will now be able to complete 2 and 5 right now. So you probably play now. Ron doesn't. Okay, Ron's just gonna opt to do it next turn because he couldn't play that card. Yeah. It would be kind of awkward because he would thrive in the shadows and then he'd lose his Discover from his deck. So now we get to see what he draws.
Zarilla?
Shard, Zarilla. I mean, you could pick Thrive or Zyrella's the Devout. Either one is absolutely okay. Right. So if Ron wants to look for a 6, he has a 6 in hand, which is pretty nice.
Could pick Shard here too to try and do the trade to try and find a 7 because he doesn't have a 7, right?
For sure, he could also look for his. He could also hopefully find his Viper. Yeah. For what he would guess is an incoming Cariel in the next turn.
Which
because he's seen a 10 and something else drawn, so he has to. It's just pretty much is the that specific card there. But Ron's gonna play his Desperate Prayer to not overdraw, which is fine. I wonder if next turn if Ron wants to go with this. If Ron's gonna want to go with this 6-drop into. Going to go 6-drop into Finley because a lot of his hand here is very clunky and you don't really want that. Mm-hmm. You don't really want the hand, so he could just play his 6-drop and then do whatever. But I think so he's going to go for Theatar, which is absolutely fine. It's his 3 cost and he's going to get a Rag. He can steal Rag here. I would guess you want to steal Rag here because Rag is because Ragnaros is something that helps way later in the game. And it just takes away a big minion, and he'll just give away probably the light that burns, the light it burns. He can still play Finley here, which would be a chance to get like a 6 cost, but he does find the Whirlpool and the Light Bomb. Gonna opt for Whirlpool. So two of his 3 8-drop cards plus the stolen rag in hand.
So we see a Reno for final help.
Yeah, Reno will be there later in the game. So for Gamer Dude, he is just at this point kind of has to be he just has to be patient, and he can just go for this Leviathan, which I would guess would probably I don't know what would. I don't really think that
he's gotta be careful on cards too himself. So
yeah, so he's at 8 cards in hand, so he'll be able to just draw and dredge and be okay here.
He
picked up his Theatar, and Theatar is a nice pickup. Now the Paladin can kind of steal this matchup with something like Theatar essentially. But Ron is just you can just play Bran here. That's fine. You can play Bran Light Shower to play Bran Light Shower to draw a card. He's gonna look for he wants his Mutanus or Blackwood or Behemoth here. He finds neither, so maybe he can play for Shard for a trade next turn, or can just go for Spirit Guide if he so wishes. But these are just not ideal.
No.
So
Shard seems more likely.
Shard is good. Desperate Prayer is also one of those things that like he can just throw now if he wishes, but he's gonna hold it. He can use it with Zarella. Is an option here. His opponent plays the Light It Burns that was given to him, and that does yeah, the brand will be gone. Which this deck, I feel like Bran in this deck has very few uses with, other than going Bran Theatar, which he already used Theo. Like Bran Mutanus is very much something if you're going for Bran Mutanus, you're not in an ideal situation.
So
that was a really nice hero power hit to get a 5/5, but this Clean the Scene.
That's supposed to happen, isn't it? Once you press the hero power, it's supposed to happen and hit your first card.
Hit the first card you want, yeah.
I thought that was
for sure. So I think here, Clean the Scene is nice. He could have also Whirlpooled. Could have Whirlpooled to play an 8 cost. Oh. He has Steam Cleaner in his. Deck apparently. That's sorry. That's ID Thief. That's ID Theft, and he sees the Steam Cleaner now. He can copy. I mean, probably just copy Righteous Defense
right
at this point.
That way, Jailer comes down.
Yeah, but he's gonna copy Reno, and then he'll copy. I would say you pick School Teacher here.
Yep.
And then he's gonna play. He's just gonna play Desperate Prayer. I'm thinking here, like, man, maybe he just goes for Finley now because you want your 7-drop and you can find your other 8 cost, but not quite in the plans for Ron yet. He's really gonna wait for that perfect moment for the Finley because he has all his 8 cost cards, and so he can just kind of wait and hope to draw into something kind of specific, and honestly, Finley could just be used as fodder for an Okani if it's a minion. There's so many 8 cost cards in the hand.
A very small Noggling coming down.
Wow, a 9/9 1 cost card. That has costed 3 hero powers to hit. Oh, sorry, 2 hero powers.
Yeah. So it's just a sponge. It's a big Noggling sponge.
For sure. But he might. I mean, this Whirlpool, Ron could say, "Oh, there's a Noggling on the board, so there's a Noggling in hand too. I can just Whirlpool this."
Yep.
Now since there was no play of, or as obviously as he knows, there's no play of Okani, and there can't be an Okani this turn. All right, so we're just gonna see Righteous Defense on the 4/4.
Interesting.
That is interesting. I mean, I thought he might want to transfer the 9/9 of stats out of there, but I think the 9/9 of stats is kind of what could be a concern. But instead, we're just going to see that Serpent Wig Condemn, which is only going to be rank 1. It'll only do 1 damage.
Change to Wig Priest there, Ron. Do it.
Yeah. I would suspect we're going to see Call of the Grave here.
Yeah, I believe so.
But I mean, he could take Serpent Wig if he wanted. It would be a buff card.
Yep.
He does have a lot of draw to play here. Call of the Grave. He discovers Undying Disciple, which would be interesting to pick. He could. He's just gonna take some armor from Plated Beetle though. Sketchy Stranger. Objection. Definitely just take the objection here. You know, your opponent. There's like most of your opponent's low cost stuff is all gone, and so realistically, the best card here to play technically the best card here would almost be the Steam Cleaner. But the reason that you're gonna hold the Steam Cleaner here is because he's gonna play Steam Cleaner against the. He could play it against the I'm sorry. He can play it when the quest goes into hand.
That's right.
Or when the minion or when the card that's created from there goes into hand, so Steam Cleaner can come down at that point, which would remove the quest reward, which would technically make this game very difficult for Ron to win. So it's a really good tech, and it can pay off here specifically against the priest, because at any point it can remove whatever's created by in the deck. And so there's a Mutanus. Now Mutanus can't eat the Steam Cleaner, so that would be the hope. Is Mutanus eats the Steam Cleaner that he knows is in the hand, but Ron's gonna not go for the Mutanus play. I'm very curious as to Ron's game plan when he has 7 and 8 in hand. If he wins, I'd like to know his game plan for this.
Identity Thief? Nope, Shard. Okay.
Yeah, because that's a good play to get rid of the 9 cost minion. Now he can beetle, and he can actually he technically could have drawn there as well if he wanted with one of his locations and removed the one proc location from the board.
Samuro coming in good if Gamer. Oh, there's Equality. I was going to say, thought they might wait till Bigger hit the board, but
that's fine. Equality plus that. At this point, any singular hit from Mutanus besides really you want to hit anything really except Okani, but that means that everything here is good to hit. The Jailer, Sire Denathrius, all that stuff is really good to get removed from the game. And there's the Rustrot Viper, which removes the Carrier Weapon, which you don't necessarily care about, but it's just kind of a nice thing to play.
Rip it now, and then that just sends a big
so Ron can rip this, and then you play Mutanus here to proc the 7 in your quest. I don't know if he's waiting for Blackwater Behemoth to trigger it, but Mutanus is I don't know if he's waiting to use Mutanus until his opponent has gone all in with a Jailer play, which I'm not sure. The Shadow Word Ruin is going to be really good against that.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder what this Denathrius is only at 14, so there's not a whole lot coming out of that. Not a lot of minions that are dying for the Paladin. They just haven't played a lot of minions on the board since Denathrius came into hand. But really, that's just such a late game win con, and it's something that you just kind of play once the Jailer is out, because you just want a minion that can't be destroyed. That's 10/10.
Right. So that Steam Cleaner is kind of...
The Steam Cleaner is going to be is kind of what Ron is thinking about in this game, which is absolutely what you should be thinking about, because he doesn't want to complete quest and then lose the quest. He wants to kind of draw out. I feel like he kind of wants to draw out the everything he can, and then he wants to win essentially with nothing left in his deck, because the Paladin doesn't pose a big enough threat against him to win.
He's got a big thick Renthal right now.
Yeah, big Renethal on the board, which could be you could remove this stuff with the Whirlpool if he so chooses. Other optionally be trading and could be doing something with removing with the he could technically he can't he technically could have light bombed and got it and killed it, but Ron's like kind of holding off on going into on drawing in towards fatigue. This is such a fascinating game of Hearthstone to kind of spectate and watch.
This is just wait and
It's
bait.
just kind of it's a battle. It's like kind of a battle of attrition of wills.
So Gamer Dude, what's Gamer Dude's plan here going forward? What's he's waiting for Ron obviously to
he's waiting at essentially this game's gonna go to fatigue.
Right.
Because this game's gonna end up in fatigue. And so as long as Ron is but eventually Ron's gonna run out of cards to just kind of dump. So like Reno is eventually gonna be a dump card. You can dump like Zyrella. A little Zyrella is not gonna be a big deal in this game. Currently, as long he can't throw many of his cards out right now. The light bomb is actually something that you can use kind of whenever at this point. Light bomb is good. Light bomb and Shadow Word Rune are both good against the jailer, but you kind of want to just go with the jailer plan. And there's so many more minions now in the deck for Mutanus to hit that
right.
I'm curious what Ron's gonna want to do with this. There's like not that many big options. You can heal and then Zyrella, which would only remove one minion. I think here we're gonna see the light. I think here Ron's gonna go for this. Oh, Ron's gonna go for the Zyrella for 2 healing on it, and that'll remove the Renethal, which means there's just not enough pressure still coming in, and yeah, like all this deck is being drawn, but nothing being drawn at this point from the Paladin is a win con, which is very notable. All the win cons are in hand, and Gamer Gamer Dude just doesn't want to play the Jailer until he pretty much has to. Which, I mean, there will come a point where he just does it, but then Ron will be able to clear. Ron will be able to survive with the Jailer on board and still just be able to remove board because of Whirlpool, because of Ruin, and because of Light Bomb. These things that ignore immunity because they just kind of target whatever there. They just look at attack values, or for Whirlpool's case, anything that exists on the board. So it doesn't mean that the Jailer's effect doesn't stay and that multiple boards that are immune can't be built. But especially with the lack of a Light Lord. Light Lord's pretty important if your minion gets low on health, which won't happen. Essentially Ron's trying to hold off and force a fatigue win because obviously there's no carry weapon now.
But he's seen little snippets of what Gamer Dude does have in his hand outside of.
Yeah,
So he's seen Steam Cleaner. He's seen. I think that was about it so far.
I mean, we've seen pretty
Righteous
much
Defense, right?
So, like, the new thing here is there's Party Up, which is an interesting card that could create a little bit of wonkiness. And like, if Ron doesn't care too much about his hand, like, I mean, throwing Finley's always an option to kind of draw a new hand. Like, looks like Ron now finds it time to go for Mutanus, and he hits the Steam Cleaner. Oh, that's a huge hit. That's one of 2 big hits. The other one is obviously the Theatar. But Theatar's a lot harder to execute if Ron keeps a full hand.
Right.
So now Ron can probably just go for the. I mean, yeah, that's gonna come in there, but there's Whirlpools and there's like Shadow Word Ruins to play with. Like, Ron can just Whirlpool this Muckborn Servant, and that would
solve a problem.
Can just Whirlpool it, and I mean, and his opponent doesn't have a Mutanus, but say they actually did tech a Mutanus, it would be gone.
Yep.
At this point, Ron can just decide to complete because it's very unlikely Theatar, or what he can do is complete and then he can Finley. He can hide his deck in there because his opponent won't have anything and won't be able to stop it when it comes into hand.
Right.
The playing of the minion.
That's right.
Yeah. He could. Yeah, it's interesting. We'll see if he opts to go for it now. We're gonna see Shadow Word Ruin. So Ron's gonna ID theft. He finds a Theo. Oh my gosh, that is a big pickup. And then he will take probably maybe he'll take a Bannerman or a City Tax. City Tax is fine because he can just dump it from his hand. It's a dumpable card. But the Theotar pickup is massive because, say, his opponent is able to do some wizardry. He has the option to wizardry it back.
Right. Potentially. Since both hands are full.
Yeah, so Ron at this point knows that he can just... Ron's just going to keep a full hand, and this is absolutely fine. Party up. Absolutely okay by him.
Ooh. Check out the poisons on
Look at all those poisons. Yeah, too bad they're not going to do anything.
There we go. Mill a card. That's okay.
Mills the card he has. He has the 8 cost in hand to play. Even if he burns second Whirlpool would not be the end of the world. Now we're going to see the Light Bomb. So this is so well. Honestly, Ron is playing this so well. He's just taking his time.
Yep.
He could technically draw here if he wants, but he doesn't really want to get closer to fatigue. He wants to wait as long as he kind of has to, and then play his 8 cost card. But we know that Theotar is going to stay the whole time, and his opponent's just going to make these big threat minions, but they just get removed. So that's a 8/8 Bubble Bot, which is just kind of an 8/8, which easily gets removed by the Light It Burns. That's a great top deck from Ron. He could opt for the he could opt to play his Behemoth here, which could be an interesting play, just to create some pressure.
Yep.
But I wonder if Ron's gonna want to complete. It's just a matter of whenever Ron Mexico wants to complete this quest. And on Gamer 2 side, he's pretty much just in reaction mode. He doesn't have much. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a whole lot to do. Like, he's buffing his cards up a lot. Like, this Reno's big. Like, the Reno's a 12/14. This is a 7/5 Vindicator, which draws the Order in the Court, but Order in the Court doesn't do much besides draw you a card, and he doesn't want to draw cards.
Right. He wants to keep it.
Hold the bridge is fine. You can play hold the bridge if you want. You can offer another minion here. Probably Muckborn would be okay, but he's just gonna opt to hold. And he's burning a card himself, which I don't think he cares too much about. But there's a Blackwater Behemoth. Oh man, that's gonna remove the minion, and he's going to trade back that trade back the Shard of Zenaru.
Service Bell burned up. 7 cards left in Gamer Dude. 6 for Ron.
Yeah, so he's running out of 3 cost cards. He's got another Bannerman, I think, unless both Bannermans are in hand. So we're looking at like City Taxes getting drawn, and then like pretty much just 1 cost cards. Muckboard Servant, he'll probably just take the Argent Protector to put a he'll take the thing to put a Divine Shield on one of his minions. He opts for the Taunt minion. But now he's only down to 1 cost cards. So he does have, I believe, some traded cards in deck. That's a really nice pickup technically.
Yep.
But yeah, as long as Ron keeps a very full hand, he should be absolutely fine. He's just gonna rip the City Tax. He could opt to play the Sketchy Stranger. He could even opt to draw 2 cards here and buff minions, honestly. Just to keep a full hand.
Venom's Trap looks good, or Ice Barrier.
Venom Striker, Double Cross. You want Barrier or anything but the one that draws you the extra cards.
Right.
So now I would guess we're gonna see some buffing and drawing, which is really good here. That is a shard draw, and Ron's gonna start going face now. Actually, he knows that regardless of Ron knows that regardless. Actually, no, he can heal and buff, and then only 1 minion. Actually, either way, it doesn't matter. Only 1 minion could kill that, and that's the minion that got chosen. So, the other minion that didn't kill was chosen by the lore. So, man, so now he has a 31 Denathrius, which can't kill here, but can do a ton of damage to Ron. I mean, he could go for it and have some potential, but he's not. He's trying to get a full. He's trying to essentially get a full 40 Denathrius and kill, which he can do pretty soon because Ron is dealing with all his minions. Um, so the main thing for Ron to do here is he has to keep he has to keep a very full hand with probably keep a full hand with the reward and just hope it doesn't get stolen. Because I mean this Denathrius is at 32. There's 8 more minions that need to die. Oh, there was 2 Vipers.
2 Vipers, Ron. What?
Yeah. So well, I mean you need consistency, and it is a 3-cost card. So and there is a rogue from Gamer Dude. But man, we are going long haul. This is game 2 still, and it is just going and going and going. Ron is taking no prisoners on that, and he should know that this Denathrius has to be close to lethaling him. But he's not going for it. This Reno's active is how long this game has gone. Active naturally without the jailer being played.
Right.
This is a 24/24 jailer, which will instantly get removed when it gets played by some card, which is so fascinating.
The world.
Ron with a full hand with 2 cards left in deck. It's obviously in the next 3 turns he'll complete quest. He can complete it now if he wants, but all right, he's gonna take his 2 Gift of the Naru. So is he gonna do that? So I'm wondering what he's gonna do here. He has nothing but trade cards in his hand. Oh, he found the Whirlpool.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's what he was looking for. I know he doesn't want to spend the Theatar here. Okay, yeah, so he'll just opt to hold 10 and he'll burn one of his 2 cards. Oh, this is so interesting. This Denathrius isn't lethal. It's so close though. It's 4 damage off in total, which would get removed by Whirlpool and complete the quest. Or removed by Shadow Word Ruin.
All right.
But oh, this is nerve-wracking. So nerve-wracking.
So what do you do? Do you Theatar right now would not be?
I'm not sure, but okay. So he triggered the barrier, which now makes Denathrius not as good.
Yeah.
But it's still fine. I'm wondering if he's gonna. I'm wondering with 2 cards left, if you just get rid of them and play Jailer, and you just force him and you force Ron to use one of his removals, and then you play Denathrius.
He's playing Denny now. Oh, no Jailer now. Okay.
No, he's gonna. Okay, so now we're gonna see one of the 2 10 costs. He's not reaching for the hero power, which means he's content to play one of them. No, he's just gonna hero power and play Knight of Anointment. Draw nothing because there's no spells. The Viper burned. Oh, this is so interesting. Ron's gonna do nothing. He's just gonna burn and pass. He knows this. Like he knows the plan for this game. He knows he has all the answers for. He has all the answers for.
You want to heal? Cool.
For this. Yeah, you want to heal? Fine. I don't need it. I have removal for that, and then he would be able to. He would force out probably the. Yeah, so Jailer's gonna come out here. Okay, so deck is burned. Jailer is played. Ron, now this is still kind of precarious position. Ron burns his deck out. He's gonna ruin here. Okay, so he ruins that, but these 2 minions are still immune. The interesting part is that Denathrius is 35. Is this lethal?
We'll see in a second. It is.
It's not. It's
1
damage.
Gosh.
1 damage off lethal. Ron can't heal. But Ron, I don't think Ron can win. Oh, Ron dies!
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, Ron waited too long and the Denathrius killed him. I think honestly, like, I know that Ron didn't want to complete quests there, but I think Whirlpool in hindsight would have saved it. And that's a steal of a win from Gamer Dude. That Quest Priest really needed to win there, but it has a good matchup into the Rogue, into a Miracle Rogue, but I don't know if this Quest Priest is gonna get it done against the Paladin or against anything else. That's a very, very good win for Gamer Dude. And now Ron has to figure out how he's gonna get. He'll have to figure out how to get the deck through, but to get his Quest Priest through.
Definitely Mage Mirror. we're looking at right now, which is what we expected.
Yeah, so we have the Mage Mirror. Ron is playing a looks like he's playing a 40 card variant of he's playing 40 card Spooky Mage, it looks like, and a very nice opening hand with a Wildfire. And from Gamer Dude's side, we see Shivering Sorceress that, so it's a double 40 card Spooky Mage, I would guess. With a decent hand from both players. I think we will see I think we could see a double. We could have seen anything except the Magister Dawngrasp mold from Gamer Dude, but he's just going to opt to play on curve. But I think Ron's overarching. I think that Ron's overarching curve here could prove a little better.
Yeah.
And honestly, the draw of the cold case makes it so there's no turn 2. Well, it's just a ping. Instead, so it's not drawing cards. But it's a pretty good start. Good start for both players, honestly. Like we could see coin cold case into like Deepwater Evoker based on draw. But cold case coming out first just to start some pressure for Gamer Dude. But Ron can answer right back here if he so chooses to. With his own cold case. Or he could coin Deepwater Evoker. That's also okay.
Yeah, I was thinking
to see what he
draws. Better.
And he gets the Blizzard, and Blizzard is both Blizzards in hand now pretty good. The mass polymorph is a good tech card, specifically against the priest specifically against. Well, I guess it could have been a good against the paladin, because there's no priest left up. Shattering Blast. So yeah, interesting. That could be text. These could be text against Rogue.
I always
could
enjoy
be some
that
Rogue
interaction.
text. Oh yeah, and it ended up in Ron's favor with his opponent taking more face damage.
Yeah.
Theo in hand could see a Theo slam here. With a full keep, you have to guess if my opponent hasn't played one of their kept cards, maybe they kept the hero card. And so we'll see. We're going to see the Wildfire plays a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in hand. Ron could go for the Theatar here and hope to hit the Magister.
Your call
and otherwise
is
he'll
correct.
get something else good.
And
he gets the Magister. He gets the Magister Dawngrasp. I'm not going to say it's over yet, but that is a very, very bad sign for the mage to have your hero card stolen. Is quite bad. So we'll see how it goes from here. Ron can make his hero power much bigger throughout the game now. So maybe this. I mean, I honestly don't know that skeletons or anything really else in the deck can do it. Except just kind of perfect. Instead of essentially perfectly playing like a bunch of skeletons and getting things like getting your Mortar Shout fast and being able to somehow lethal. 3 spells return to hand, including a Wildfire, which is pretty big. So that's another 3 damage hero power. Ron this turn is just going to be able to play his Magister.
He's just gonna...
which is so good. Because it gives Cold Case plus Wildfire. You don't care that you don't get your Arcane Intellect off of it. But yeah, from here, Ron's now on the game plan of just buffing this hero power up and using it to do 6, 7, 8 damage, as much damage as he possibly can get out of it.
Throwing all the shades. So right now it's at 4.
Yeah.
And 3 damage for Gamer Dude. Pings.
So they're both at 3, but Ron's going to be at 4 here in a sec. Ron's already at 4, so he'll be at 5 next turn, which means he'll be able to actually buff his hero power this turn. Unless because the pings none of that damage went to a minion, which meant that a Wildfire plus a ping would increase the hero power for him for next turn. And this is just a small fraction of what's to come. I would guess for the hero power damage from Ron. The rest of his hand is clunky, So there's a chance he could kind of brick draw, and then Gamer Dude kind of draws better and is able to apply the pressure down. Also to note that I'm sorry, there is no double 40 card mage. This is just a 30 card ping mage from Gamer Dude. I didn't realize that at first. I was like, oh, where's his Theatar and stuff? He doesn't run that, so he really took away like the massive win condition of this deck. And there's Ruin. See Ruin probably. I think you probably just play the Ruin of the Archmage here. You could pair it with a freeze if you so wished. Notably, also Ron could just play Blizzard if he wanted to. But we're gonna rip the Ruin of the Archmage. 10 Pyroblast, go face. Go face. Is it going face? No, sad.
3,
Life
4.
Sentence. Life Sentence gets rid of a frozen minion. That's 17, 20. That's all 20 mana used. Not the best use, not the best rune for Ron, but we got to see a Pyroblast. And that's a Vengeful Visage, which gives Ron a skeleton, which is pretty good.
Yep. I lost count of what skeletons were flipping through, but I'm sure it's a whole bunch.
Yeah, and for Gamer Dude's side, it doesn't matter as much because he's not running Kel'Thuzad.
Yeah.
Ron might, with Ron's deck, I don't know if he's running Kel'Thuzad. I mean, he's running double mass, which is not a typical inclusion, which leads me to believe there also isn't a KT in his deck. But this could be a ton of damage realistically. I mean, there's so many skeletons being made that eventually Ron will be able to just start pushing damage face, but he doesn't have a ton of draw. That is nice to get the Rust-Rot. Oh, Rust-Rot into an Arcane Intellect. We're going to see Mass Polymorph, though. An excellent play for play for Ron to and he has draw for next turn, which is great, plus a Blizzard if he so chooses. He doesn't have to draw with the Intellect. It's just he needs to get through his deck because he has less cards in his deck than his opponent already only has less than 10 cards left.
Yeah.
So all this damage is just going to get pushed. So any draw of a Reckless Apprentice is almost completely game ending. So you could just try and draw here with the Arcane Intellect and then Blizzard, and you can Blizzard and clear if you wish. Oh. But so there's no pickup there. So I would suspect we're going to see. I guess we're going to see Cold Case. Ron's not that scared of dying, but Mordred should be online for his opponent. So I suppose we're just going to see a lot of damage go face and freezing the face, but there's still 7 damage coming back at him plus the hero power. So this is a board lock situation, but it's not really because of the minions on board. Gamer Dude can always clear up a space for something to get played. When he does have Reckless Apprentice in his hand. So we're going to see that played. We're going to see the Oasis Ally triggered. That's good damage for Ron to have. I wouldn't be surprised to see... I'm surprised to see that minion not removed, but I guess we're going to see a Bran here. A Bran Righteous... a Bran Reckless.
Right, yep.
So a lot of damage is going to get put down here, and Ron will be probably forced to use Solid Alibi here. So, he'll be able to Blizzard. He'll be able to Blizzard or play Solid Alibi. He could always just Mass Polymorph if he thinks it's too dangerous, because his whole board's gone. So really, realistically, one of his minions got cleared, but his opponent is going to make his board full again. He has no. Oh yeah, okay, so that's interesting. He draws 2 cards. He doesn't
bottom
get any
5.
procs.
Yeah.
His Mordrish is there. He's at the bottom of his deck.
Yep.
Ron is in a very precarious situation. Because guess what? He's likely losing this matchup unless he plays Visage and clears a chunk of his board here. He has to Solid Alibi, I should say.
That's
otherwise,
for sure. Yeah.
Otherwise,
he did.
Yeah. Otherwise, he's just gonna die to Mordrish. So now we're just going to see that happen. It's a weird situation. He's probably going to Blizzard, and he has to remove this Bran still. Because you can't allow Bran to be on the board. Right. So Blizzard is fine. He could play his 2/3, and then just ping the minion, because he'll only take 1 damage from Mordrish. But he's just he's just at this point buying time, and it's a very precarious situation for him.
He doesn't get this brand out of the way. I think
he'll be toast.
Yeah.
I think at this point he's probably just toast. And actually, does he? No, he has to go face here. He has to go face and almost just hope for a way to win, because he doesn't have a way to. Yeah, he doesn't have a way to win. Otherwise, outside of essentially pinging and drawing, he has to draw into Reckless Apprentice to win. Because he's dead to Mordrish. He's dead to Mordrish anyways.
Very true.
And his opponent solid alibis him back, and that might seal the game, honestly. I don't really know how Ron avoids. He has to draw solid alibi again here. He has to be able to draw his second alibi, because this Mordrish is going to come down for a ton of damage. Freezing doesn't do anything. I think this is actually game. I think that that Ron kind of drew poorly here. With 4 cards left, he's playing under the assumption that there's no Mordrish, but he's gonna find out who. He's probably playing under the assumption that there's probably Mordrish, but there's nothing that I can really do against it, because I didn't draw alibi.
Right.
So there it is. Mordrish comes down. Mordrish wins the game, really, because the only way to win was indeed the Reckless Apprentice, or maybe a rune of the Archmage to gain some armor. But otherwise, it is a very unfortunate situation where he stole the hero power, but just the sheer damage of 30 card Ping Mage was able to win, because Ron didn't clear the board, which I thought to be a very interesting situation, because he just took like 7 eventually once you start taking chunk damage like that, it's not a good situation. And so now there's only the rogue left, right? Only the rogue.
Yep, Gamer Dude up 2-1 over Ron currently.
Yeah, so Ron's going back to his mage against the rogue, and it should be a XL Thief rogue for Gamer Dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Possible similar lineup as Ron's deck, with the Krakatoa and. I mean, they're all pretty close anyway.
Yeah, for sure. And even in Ron's rogue game, we just didn't see the cutlasses drawn.
Right.
So I would guess that they're all there. It looks like Ron opted to keep a lot of his early hand. He kept the Viper. He kept the Dungeoneer, it looks like. I'm curious about the Viper keep here. Because I would guess you wouldn't want your tradable on turn. You really wouldn't want your tradable early. You want to get your Wildfire to be able to start the damage. So yeah,
Ron's looking at a mage across the way, saying, "What the hell? I just got beat by this mage."
Of course.
I call foul.
And this mage also now has 40 health, but I'm sure, obviously under the rules, don't have to call Maestra, but it's pretty clear that it's Maestra.
It's 100% obvious.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see the Sketchy Stranger next turn. Ron kept the Viper to trade it on 1. Very interesting. Ended up just trading it away. And the Tooth of Nefarian pickup. Reckoning, Perjury, or Explosive.
Wow.
I think that, like, essentially you just don't want to play. You don't really need Perjury. You could probably just go with like a Reckoning.
Yep.
Because it won't reveal your class, so it'll allow for more draws. And there's a coin Dungeoneer play for Ron. A pretty good start here for Ron Mexico. He's got his draw card. He's got Deepwater Evoke. He's got some good draw in his hand. On the other side, Gamer Dude picked up Perjury. He can play Tooth if he so pleases. And I think he'll still have like pretty decently low cost nulls.
Prize Fury.
And that's, I mean, you're probably taking Captured Cold Tooth or Frenzied Fang. Cold Tooth Mine is a pretty interesting like it's interesting because you can get one of your 0 cost spells off of it, or you can opt to go for like your high end, your top end
Right.
on a draw. But we're probably just looking at a one. You're probably looking at drawing lowest card because you'll get a Shadow Step or something like that to play, like a Shadow Step or a Preparation that will be playable later, and those are always good cards to have in hand as the rogue. But other than that, there's really nothing else to do unless you're planning to trade. So he's gonna pick highest cost. So he'll pick up his Sire Denathrius. Okay, that makes sense.
That's just getting minions that are slowly
Gonna build.
Yep.
Yep, indeed, you are correct. But we didn't. We went for Ranthal last turn. Now we're going for the Deepwater Evoker, and he knows it's perjury now. So we're gonna see
Objection,
probably a
Revenge, Ice Trap is good.
I could see Ice Trap, but I'm gonna with Objection. The reason that I'm not the biggest fan of Objection against this Mage deck is because Ron. I mean, once Ron figures out kind of what it is, he can play around it. So we do know that it's Double Cross and Perjury put there, and he texts and finds that it's Reckoning. Either way, it didn't really matter which one he attacked with first.
Mm-hmm.
I guess technically, if technically having the 3/4 survive is better than the 3/2. So we're gonna see Flurry to stop the attack from that minion, and also to kind of dump a card at the same time. It just Cold Case to use mana or to play like pretty much the best card available there. So second Perjury played, Frozen Clone, Motion Denied, Noble Sack.
Denied.
Motion
Denied looks good.
It's probably the second. I think I'd pick Noble Sack personally, but I think Motion Denied is not terrible. It's definitely the second best option. Frozen Clones is not amazing, especially with Rogue. But yeah, so he opts to take the Noble Sacrifice, which will negate the attack of this 3/2, wherever or a 2/2 wherever it goes. And now Sprint, very interesting pickup. I don't think that causes a mill either. It's just 9 cards in hand, so that's really good. That's a lot of really nice pickups. Contraband Stash, Krakatoa. Ron with a very clutch pickup of his Dawngrasp, but he doesn't have any Wildfires, and he will test for the Noble Sack, and it does go through.
That
is where this goes. It goes face. That's not exactly the place you want it to go. This will trigger the Objection, the Frostweave Dungeoneer, which is absolutely fine. And now Ron will just play his Arcane Intellect, which will trigger the Double Cross and force a mill. So very good job by Ron to recognize that'll mill a card. Ghastly Gravedigger being milled is really great. 2 cards in general. Serrated Bone Spike, another solid mill. Krakatoa will come down here though, which will not be cleaned up the easiest by Ron, but he can potentially freeze. He'll potentially freeze the minion. If he goes for the hero power, if he goes for his hero card. So we'll see no Wildfire pickup, but a Nightcloak Sanctum instead, and that's just gonna Ron's just gonna play out this.
Ron's just gonna do his thing.
Play the hero card.
Yep.
Hero power will go. Hero power will go.
Plays more things.
Yeah, and that Finley's also a big pickup here. See on Gamer 2 side, there's a lot that he can do here. Not a whole lot by means of like discovered cards, but he can even Shadow Step Krakatoa here if he wants. I'm not sure if that's the best use of it, but he could even go for a kind of a board fill here. He has double cross. He has cards. He has secrets to play. He has I guess kind of a more clunkier hand than he'd like, but it's not too bad because you can he's the Shadow Step in the Krakatoa here. Although that isn't one Shadow Step used that is not being put towards Test Greymane later in the game.
Right.
But I think he's just trying to plan to win. I think he just kind of wants to tempo win.
He just wants to smash face and get Ron's health total
his double,
0.
If this double cross won't trigger a mill. So he has kind of avoided that.
Here we go.
So there's Sire Denathrius for Ron. Might have wanted that a little bit earlier, but not the end of the world. He can trigger the hero power if he goes ahead and plays his Reckless Apprentice, but he might just want to play. I wouldn't be surprised to see something like Sir Finley here. This hand does not look great. It's very clunky. But we are going into a next turn Rune of the Archmage, so maybe we just hold and play something like Location. Play something like Location, but looks like Ron's going to go ahead and play his Reckless here.
Yep.
Which is pretty good. Which is a solid play here. He's able to now not remove the Krakatoa, but make his hero power deal 3, and then he's going to activate a solid alibi here, which does give double cross, but you can't really avoid that at any point during the game. You can't really avoid that. So Shadowcrafter Scabs picked up, as well as a 0-cost null and a jackpot. So now we're gonna see prep jackpot, and we'll see what he gets. Deep breath and convoke the spirits. So convoke the spirits is a pretty funny pickup.
It is.
The thing with druid cards are the druid cards are very likely to draw, and this is a very full hand. So he might want to maybe dump a little before playing if he wants to play convoke. Because he could it's not like you wouldn't be upset to see something like you wouldn't be upset to see something like a Miracle Growth. It would be very... Yeah, we're going to see Convoke. There's a chance for a lot of drop, but there's also a chance for a lot of good things to happen here. Kodo Mount, pretty big. Force of Nature, that puts cards on the board.
Some scales.
Earthen Scales that's not the ideal target, but it's okay. These are pretty good Druid spells coming in, honestly. They don't necessarily win the game. They don't necessarily lose the game. But overall, it puts Gamer Dude in a better situation than before. Now this Denathrius is going to get some stuff for that. That pickup is absolutely massive. That clears. That is a full board clear for Ron Mexico. It's also weird because it's his final Reckless Apprentice. So any other board that gets generated is going to be very difficult to kind of deal with. But I feel like you might have to do it, especially because it'll hit Krakatoa and upgrade before it hits the null.
So here we go.
It'll go face, and then it'll hit the Krakatoa,
and then go down the line.
Upgrade to 4, so it'll go to 5. So he's dealing 5 damage to everything else here. That is really nice. We could see Deepwater Evoker here as well potentially, or a Theatar. But we're just gonna opt to see the We're gonna opt for Ron to start now chunking face with the hero power and playing the location card, the Nightcloak Sanctum. Let's see, that's a 19 damage. That's a 19 damage card, and he's gonna force a mill here. But do you really want to put Reckless Apprentice back in your opponent's hand at this point? You have to.
Yeah,
you have to.
Just gonna
you
say.
have to decide if you want to do that. So instead, we're gonna go for. It looks like we're gonna go for a Deep Breath to remove the minion, maybe, which would, because I believe there's more than enough spells in hand to do that. So
Deep Breath.
that would only remove that. That will not touch the 2/2. 2/2 will be removed. Looks like tanked with face potentially, which I mean isn't the end of the world. But if it hits the face, that's just more damage for Ron, and he's got things to maybe even look for with. So he's gonna play Contraband Stash. So okay, we're gonna see
Deep Breath is
Convoke the Spirits.
Ooh.
Scale of Onyxia has a big pickup. Natural Causes will kill one of them, or it could have gone face.
Due Process.
Due Process. Oh my gosh, that's 2 Due Processes played. That's really bad for kind of both players at this point. It's a little worse. Like, Ron can just play Mass Polymorph here, but both players are going to start kind of milling cards. I think Ron's drawing 3. I think his opponent. Obviously, both players are drawing 3 cards.
Ron saved wild card. Dawn Grasp,
So,
bad burn, my opinion.
Varden Dawn Grasp isn't, I'd say, is a bad ban, but it's bad burn. But the mass polymorph here is just really nice, and he knows that this is something like a reckoning. So Ron very much here probably just wants to play mass polymorph, because I don't really know what else he's going to go for. You can't really go Brand Finley or Brand Theo because you're going to take a ton of damage back to the face. He could opt to leave this 8/6 up, but I'm not sure I will personally would.
That mass polymorph seems like a...
Yeah, but and Ron he is gonna opt for the mass polymorph, but then his hero power now does 6 damage, which is a lot. He's now he's only a few turns away from just straight up winning, but it's a 21 damage Denathrius, which will just get played here, right? No other mass polymorph really there. He'll full heal, and Ron will be in a very precarious situation where it's kind of an archmage. It's kind of a it's like ruin or bust kind of at this point, which has just kind of been the power of these Denathriuses from Gamer Dude, where he was able to win a very unfavored matchup by playing Denath with just a really building at Denathrius up and up and up, while now it's just a bad situation. Denathrius is shadow stepped, which honestly it doesn't help Ron very much, but it doesn't help him very much because Ron's probably just dead. But
unless he,
Ron's kind of forced to play his own Denathrius back to heal.
Or
he should probably freeze a minion first. But I'm not sure that this is gonna. I'm not sure if this is. There's a lethal. I'm not sure if there's a lethal if there's a line that Ron's. Okay, Ron is going for the out of finding his opponent's Denathrius, I suppose.
And that's a big negative.
And he didn't, so he's probably just gonna concede here. But we'll see what happens. He's gonna. It's such a tough. It's such a tough situation because his opponent's board is not. What is the out? I don't know exactly what this out is.
Solid alibi. Throw that on.
But alibi doesn't. But alibi doesn't do enough. Okay, Ron has to alibi clear, but he doesn't have a flurry. He has to freeze and kill a minion, and he's not dead. Wait, he didn't. Wait, no, he didn't throw. But he definitely he's. What he needed to find his Mordrish is kind of probably what he was looking for.
Yeah.
He didn't. But he's gonna die. He actually is dead to hero power. He is dead to hero power, Denathrius. So that is a done and dusted series. And unfortunately, Ron comes out on the losing end, but that means that we have more legacy finals.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ron came so close, but his opponent just seemed to have enough. His opponent just had enough answers. It was a pretty tightly contested series. I'm very sorry to those who were watching that I didn't really know the intricacies of the Control Paladin versus Quest Priest matchup. It's not something I particularly play a ton of or enjoy playing because that's just like that's such a long mirror matchup on ladder.
Yeah, I mean we're at hour 1 hour 16 minutes, so it's not too bad. So
no, not at all, because all the other games went pretty fast.
Yep. So just asking Gamer Dude if they have time to jump in and do a quick interview with us. And
all right, let's do it.
That is a quick yeah. So
good. All right, let's talk to our Victor, keeping his team alive.
All right. Joined here by Gamer Dude. Thanks for being the savior for your team and pushing it everything to Sunday now.
Never in doubt.
Hey,
never in doubt. So I mean, I like just watching your play throughout the series. You definitely had you just had super solid game plans. It seemed like for every matchup. Especially that Paladin versus Priest, which as you know is pretty unfavored for the Paladin, but you you were able to find the Denathrius win con. I don't know. I guess like if you want to elaborate kind of on when you're playing when you're kind of playing the mid to late game, where you're playing, it felt like you were playing super reactively as you kind of have to as the paladin. Like, what were you kind of thinking about, other than juicing Denathrius?
Yeah, so the Pally versus Priest matchup is like weirdly this sort of fatigue sort of thing that went on. Usually as the Priest, you have to go for the quest win con and just pray the reward doesn't get Theotard.
Yeah,
I don't know, like, what was Ron's plan there at the like? I
I
just let
I
me
don't
Denathrius
know.
him, just hoping my Denathrius was like 20 damage, and like I don't know, it didn't
Hmm.
feel like he was gonna win the fatigue battle with all the threats I had.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
so yeah, so you have to kind of just pray you win the 7 out of 10 or whatever with
Hmm.
Theotar. And
Yeah.
then there's the steam cleaner thing. So it's always a fun tech for Legacy Steam Cleaner. I got Steam cleaned on stream if either of you are watching that. Usually, Steam Cleaner is a pretty sus tech card in this matchup because if the priest player plays perfectly, the Steam Cleaner doesn't even work. You just
Okay.
hold the shadows. You play Zarella and then you shadows right away, and you
Hmm.
can just guarantee that the Steam Cleaner never hits you. But Ron played both of his shadows super early, so I was like, okay, the Steam Cleaner just insta wins if he jams Zarella. And then
Yeah.
he hit the 1 in 8 Mutanus, and I was like, of course, of course.
Yeah, that Mutanus was crazy. Really, there was the two favorable outcomes being hitting
Yeah,
Theo or hitting this cleaner, but the cleaner being much better because of
yeah.
that. Um,
All I had to do was just keep as many minions as hand as
yeah,
possible, and I did, and I still got punished.
I
But
I
it happened.
was, yeah, for sure. That was a crazy moment. I mean, I guess it was probably a miscalculation of Denathrius damage, but also I don't know. I felt like he was very passive with things like the whirl. Like obviously he doesn't. Obviously hindsight 2020, he probably should have whirlpooled when you played Jailer, to remove all the minions. Um, but still, like I think that was just kind of, maybe not knowing exactly how big Denathrius was. Because I also wasn't sure of the gameplay, and I mean, I tried my best to figure it out during
During the
the game,
stream.
but because I've honestly never played that matchup, at least recently. While this version of Paladin's been around, like generally it's just kind of a helpless matchup for the Paladin, where like like you might get a Denathrius play, but with like finding the steam cleaner tech and all this stuff. But I'm, you know, super well played by you. The mage mirror was so interesting because because obviously he Theotars, he 1 in 6 is getting he gets your hero card, and you just still see, and you just have gently just built up so much pressure, steamrolled them. I guess, did you kind of suspect that the matchup would go? I don't think you would have suspected the matchup to go that way once he took your Dawn Grasp on
Right.
5.
Yep.
Yeah, 30 versus 40 BSM is tough because as the 30 mage, if they do big spell mage stuff early, you don't
Mm-hmm.
really have a way to deal with big threats.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so usually you're trying to get as much chip as you did. I
Uh,
thought the hand I had in the mulligan was pretty nice with the
it was.
arcane intellect on 2 and
Yeah.
the Jaina or the oh my god, what's that card's name called?
The Dawn Grasp
The
on
Dawn Grasp
7.
on
And
7.
then
But I'm
it
not sure if it's actually correct. After I'd kept the cards, I was like, oh, actually, I think I'm probably supposed to just hard mull for burn. Because
um
what ended up happening is my bottom like 5 cards were both of my frozen touches, right?
yeah.
Which would have been super helpful early on.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's weird. Because Dawngrass is a super good card, period.
Yeah, you always keep Dawn Grasp in the Mage Mirror. I wasn't sure about keeping the spell card. The 2/2 I think was probably okay because it's a 1-mana card. I know the unfortunate part of that was that you drew Cold
I drew.
Case.
So after losing the 1-8 Mutanus, I hit the 2-27, and I was like, "Oh man, this set is just
No, I mean
not
there was.
my friend."
Oh, that's right, because you don't really run
there's
anything else
there's
other
only
than.
2 4-mana spells, and that's it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, you're right, because that's such a low curve.
and then there's only
Spell
2
deck.
3-mana spells. So even if I top deck the second Intellect,
You were
we're
fine,
okay.
yeah, for
So
sure.
it was just funny that every
Yeah,
every bad outcome that I could hope for kept seeming to happen.
yeah. All
But
Persevere.
we got a good outcome tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
definitely a good outcome for you. I mean, it was a little bit of Ron kind of having a stalled out middle part of the game after he got after he got his Dawn Grasp on board. He didn't really get the best draws to kind of continue his momentum, which can happen obviously with a 40 card deck. Especially because he was running like 40 card Spooky Mage and you're running 30 card ping / Spooky Mage, and very well played to get that damage out. And then the last game 4 kind of turned to chaos once both Convoke the Spirits played Due Process, which was kind of funny in my opinion.
So I am a huge follower of Yogg-Saron. Yogg is my hero.
Yeah, Yogg is
My
great.
avatar used to be Yogg until Jada came back and I switched it.
I remember
so
that. Yeah.
My rule is if you get a box, play a box. So as soon as I saw I was like, this is a sign from the gods that this game, I'm winning this game. And so I'm like, we're going on the Convoke train. I don't care what happens. And yeah, the double Due Process was obviously hilarious.
It was hilarious. I mean,
got
it wasn't
2
much
giant
of the reason.
boards out of it, which juices it to Aetherius, and then the top deck Shadow Step was obviously
just the
super
nail
awesome.
in the coffin. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe a couple of missteps by Ron during the match. I mean, I don't think either. I mean, you could probably find someone who would say, both players, none of them played perfect, but because that's always going to happen.
It's Hearthstone.
And obviously,
I missed an attack in game 4 with the 3/4 too, right? I was so focused on my turn.
Yeah, I think
all the other turns, I was like, oh yeah, I've got minions.
I was like, I looked at that. I didn't mention it because I wasn't like 100% sure you missed the attack. But obviously it didn't come back to bite you.
No.
But yeah, I mean, Ron played with what he had, and you came out on top from it regardless. So congratulations to you on getting a very nice 3-1 win. And I guess from here, Saku mentioned the last 2 matches are on Sunday, so we're gonna have to wait a few extra days to find out who wins the Legacy season. We've seen so many of these matches just be super close from across the board.
Yeah.
And the last 2 matches, I don't know the order, but I know that it is Danka's dad versus
it's
versus Izot.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be Kotamora versus You Kit and Me.
Yeah, and I think they both play at the same time. They're both playing at I don't know what time it was. 7 EST on Sunday. It looks like.
Yeah, we get Kotamora. So
are we gonna do? We're gonna do the double. Are you gonna do the
double? Double cam.
We can. I just think Easer basically the time frame. I thought we had. If things have changed, I'm fine with that. But Kotamora and You Kidding Me are playing at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Gotcha.
And Dankus and Easer is at 8 p.m. So it should be.
Okay, so they moved back. Okay, they moved back. So it'll just be a
but
double
if things
feature.
change, I'm happy to.
In our group right now, it says 7, and it says edited. So I don't know if that was a different time that they changed because of the double week, or if something else changed.
Oh, it probably was because of the week change.
So I'll definitely ask Izat to make sure he's not expecting to play at 7. That's what his time is listed as in our match time. So
yeah, because Dankus Dad and I were chatting because I usually talk to both players if people are new to THL. When we try to have them on stream, I try and do a DM between the 2 players so that there's really keeps communication flow going.
I wonder if it has to do with daylight savings time because we had daylight savings time.
That's true.
Oh yeah, maybe Izat. Oh yeah, maybe
Izat
doesn't have daylight.
Izat had it, so that's could
be yeah.
So
it could just be the same time, but 7 his time. Yeah,
it's all good. But any final thoughts before we let you go high five your team here in DMs?
No, Hearthstone's hard, but
Yep.
we persevere. Go team, go.
That's
all I have
right.
to say.
Love it.
Well, we thank you for you and Ron being on stream tonight.
Yep.
And congrats. And we will see everybody, I guess, on Sunday. So thanks
See
to
you
Fish.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for your time, gamer.
See ya, guys.
Praise Yog.
All right. So just to for our viewers out there, just to remind them, we have two more games to be played in the series. So come see us on Sunday. And either we'll have it extended by one more match, or there'll be a winner declared. So everybody, be safe out there, and we will let you go and talk later. Peace out.
Bye, everybody.
Can't nobody out here do it like me. Ain't nobody out here winning like me. Can't nobody out here do it like me. Just like me, like me. Can't nobody out here do it like me. Ain't nobody out here winning like me. Can't nobody out here do it like me. Just like me, like me. I'm one of a kind, I'm like a rare breed. A breath of fresh air, you can see me. People stand up just to greet me. Role model, kids wanna be me. Listen now, later you'll believe me. Got you under my spell, the whole thing was easy. I just come and wink my eye like a genie. Put my crown on, y'all little peasant can king me. I'm irreplaceable, the different one. Since I was born, I was the chosen one. Every time I speak, you know it's unique. Might go over your head, my words are kinda too deep. Man, I'm wise like an owl is.